The young man has been eating garbage by the roadside for 9 years. Yet as you grew up, you got yourself a stunningly beautiful fiancée. Peers see him as a good-for-nothing who only sponges off others. And the young apprentice niece, merely 16 and just beginning to understand love. She even had the audacity to show up at his door, demanding Suhan to call off the engagement and relinquish his spot as the groom. At first, Suhan managed to talk them down with his persuasive, silver tongue. Who knew that Song Yuming was just a simple-minded, naive young man? A common saying in the book goes, in life, one should return favors with kindness. If Brother Su harbors deep feelings for the young uncle, then he should grant him his freedom to pursue the great Tao. For over 10 consecutive days, he persistently knocked on the door, trying to persuade her without giving up. This mess has left Suhan feeling frustrated and confused. In the end, feeling helpless, I had no choice but to get up early to avoid her. The crunching sound made when stepping on snow. But it reminded him of the scene years ago when he sold himself to bury his father. Subsequently, he couldn't help but let out a long sigh towards the sky. At this moment, a male voice came from behind Suhan. "My friend, why do you sigh every day? He who does not plan for the distant future will find worries at his doorstep. In this lifetime, who doesn't have some troubles?" Upon the man's invitation, Suhan entered the courtyard and took a seat. And when he saw the book in the man's hand, yet, involuntarily, her eyes suddenly tightened. "Sir, what's the point of coming to the Divine Dragon Pavilion every day, not to practice martial arts, but to read these books?" The man picked up a book and slowly said, "These are the words of our predecessors, the way to govern a country. How could they be useless?" Suhan couldn't help but exclaim loudly, "There's payback. Looks like, brother, you're intent on stirring up trouble." The bureaucratic world is full of deceit and trickery, something I never wished for. However, the rise and fall of the world is every individual's responsibility. Reading more books will eventually come in handy one day. This statement made Suhan respect him even more. He directly showed his appreciation, made a fist salute, and lavished the man with praises. But when the man heard that he was Yi Hongjian's son-in-law, "Your attitude has become significantly more respectful all of a sudden. In the next chapter, according to seniority, it would be more appropriate for me to address you as Uncle Master." Suhan immediately raised his hand and said earnestly, "We're peers, just addressing each other as equals will do." That night, it was still up in the air who the young lady would end up with. With his straightforward and no-nonsense style, he greatly won over Zhou Zheng's admiration. Thus, he invited Suhan to his humble abode for a gathering. The sudden invitation took Suhan by surprise. But a real man doesn't sweat the small stuff, so he toughened up and moved on. Upon entering the room, Suhan immediately noticed the books along the wall. And placed at the very top is the myopic Pastoral Chronicles. So, he picked it up and couldn't help but ask. The case of King Mu's rebellion has far-reaching implications, and the mere mention of the Mu family strikes fear into the hearts of the common people. I'm surprised, Brother Zhou, that you even dare to read such a book. Zhou Zhang, his face changing color, spoke faintly. One can enter into books, but can't enter into people's hearts. What's the difference between observing and not observing? Back then, the entire family of King Mu was annihilated. Only the young prince managed to escape with his life. At this point, Suhan suddenly looked up, realizing that the crown prince and Zhou were about the same age. But Zhou Zhang, cradling his hot tea, whispered, "There were more than just that red bandit who survived from the Mu family back then. Today, the secret that caused Suhan's pupils to dilate in shock, there's actually a survivor. Dare I ask, who might it be?" Back in the day, King Mu's younger brother, now the king of northern Jiang, Mu Qi, was rumored to have been frail and sickly since childhood, with a disability that affected his legs. Consequently, the old and irate king passed on the throne to his elder brother, Wu Tai. Yet that fundraiser harbored resentment, colluded with the Eternal Night Bureau, and plotted the massacre of the entire Mu family. Upon hearing this, a chill ran through me, cursing him to the core, condemning his 8 generations of ancestors for seeking glory and wealth by betraying his own bloodline, utterly unworthy of being human. At this moment, Zhou Zhang exuded a soulful quality and asked, "Brother Su, what do you think of the person who raised the funds?" Suhan blurted out, his self-confidence bordering on arrogance. But Zhou Zhang didn't see it that way. He managed to pacify the nearly mutinous army of 200,000 from the Mu family, and also maintained the border stability of the Zhou dynasty for nearly a decade. Before you could even catch your breath, you're already reeling from the shock. Zhou Zhang continued to add, Mu Tai's martial arts skills were unmatched, but it led to the extermination of his entire family. On the other hand, Mu Ji, who had no martial arts skills, has been in control of the northern territory for more than 10 years. Sometimes, being invincible in the world is no match for cunning and schemes. This speech, which was extremely difficult to understand, left Suhan, a man who could barely read, utterly bewildered. Nevertheless, he bowed his fist towards Zhou Zhang once again. And at that moment, Zhou Zhang suddenly started fumbling for something in his pocket. Then, he took out 3 silver yuan pills and popped them into his mouth with a flick. The potency of his medicine is at least, glazed pill, seductress, keeping it useless, then I might as well give it to Brother Su. Suhan stared at the other person, lost in a daze. And when he said goodbye to Zhou Zhang, he walked to the front door. All I heard was Chu Chuli, arguing with someone. A group of disciples from the Sword Guild are adamant that he stole the elixirs. So, Suhan immediately stepped forward from the crowd. Unexpectedly, the ringleader turned out to be Meng, the very brother who had previously given him a hard time. Now that he had caught Suhan in a vulnerable position, it made him even more brazen. I am on a mission to investigate the theft of the elixirs, and I kindly asked for Brother Su's cooperation. Realizing the sting of being at a disadvantage, he was suddenly at a loss for words. And with that, Meng turned on his heel, ready to dash into the courtyard. Luckily, the great savior, Akai, suddenly appeared at this moment. Upon seeing this, Brother Meng immediately clasped his fists and recounted the whole story, giving him the details straight and true. Yet, Su Han and Chu Chili look at Hong Jian with faces seeking help. Who would have thought? The red tip is surprisingly outstanding. Linglong Pavilion, out with the thief, then go in and search. Upon hearing this, Brother Meng gave a wide grin and made a fist and palm salute to Hong Jian. Immediately, he clamored to lead his disciples into the courtyard for a search. Despite searching over and over again, the disciples haven't found a single clue. This also left Su and Han completely dumbfounded. And that Meng guy, he was so furious he turned beet red. Clearly, people saw that kid taking the lily pill, how could they not find any evidence of wrongdoing? Immediately after, trembling with his disciples, they searched everywhere they needed to search except for the room of the junior uncle. The moment these words came out, it petrified Mr. Meng instantly. I turned around, immediately clasped my fist in apology, and said to Hong Jian, I acted rashly in this matter. The theft of the glazed pill indeed has nothing to do with Brother Su. But the moment he thought of leaving, he struck it rich. Uncle Yi, what wisdom do you have for me? But all I saw was Yi Hong Jian, furious, giving a big brush off. With a single slap, Brother Meng was sent flying out of the courtyard. It wasn't until it crashed into an old tree 10 meters away that it finally came to a stop. On this matter, Hong Jian was even more adamant, stating firmly, Su Han is my husband Yi Hong Jian. If you have any suspicions about him, feel free to investigate. If anything is found, I will accept punishment alongside him. But when you can't find out, this, a slap, is a lesson. With a hint of murderous intent in his gaze, he said, If it happens again, I'll take your life.